Good. Thank you to you.
Good, yeah. Good to see you, man. We have
to
now.
see you too. Thanks.
Huh?
Thank you very much for organizing this. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, absolutely, you're welcome.
Really awesome. Thank you.
Cool, man. So we're at 17 people now.
Oh wow.
So it's Ariana, I know. Kinga, Nuno, Edita.
Yes, that's my cousin.
Oh, that's your cousin. Okay, because there's another Edita that's come to Kambo before that I thought might be there. Teresa's there somewhere. Richard.
Hey, John.
Well, you good? Yeah. Wade. Who else do I know? Becky. Jen. I guess. Nick. Nick is there somewhere. There he is.
Nick.
Hey there, Nick.
Good to see you. Hey, John.
Tu pod domofonem, Kinga. Już otwieram.
Gia. There she is. Ellen. Teresa, you look like you're that Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but you can change the background on your Zoom because I'm actually in my bedroom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you actually come down to where the video is and the panel bar at the bottom,
yeah,
and the arrow mark, just choose virtual background, and then you can do the same.
Ah.
Mm. So we can all be in the same country, huh?
Yeah, so I don't want to turn it on and then find I can't turn it off because then let's try it.
Yeah, no. To turn it off, you just do exactly the same process.
Oh, okay, good. I don't want to do it and then I can't turn it off and then hang on a second.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, it doesn't work.
Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
And I turn mirroring off as well. That's good because always whenever I've got mirroring on, my Planet Kambo t-shirt is.
Go ahead. Take your time.
Oh, you have to do. I have a green screen. Oh no, yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, doesn't work properly anyway. Have you got a green screen behind you, Teresa?
No, it actually says. Let me see. No, I don't think it was green screen I chose.
Okay.
No,
it didn't work for me anyway. But anyway, I'm not going to use it. But anyway, it's handy. It's good to know.
Yeah, I tried it too. It doesn't. Yeah, it didn't work well for me either. No, it's really neat though.
Yeah.
Because it was doing it. Yeah, what it was just doing for Richard, it was doing the same thing for me.
You have to have a solid background. It doesn't have to be green.
Plain white or something, maybe. Yeah.
Good. We've got 26 people on now.
What time is it?
It's coming up to 5 past, so we can get started in a sec. Okay, those of you that have Rapé, then have it handy. So we'll do a little bit of Rapé. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. Don't worry too much. If you've got Rapé, then have it in hand, and we can take a little bit of Rapé at the beginning, and then do a quick meditation, and then we'll go into the exercise. And This is the first time that we've done this on a webinar. I've done this live many times, so obviously it's going to be different doing it on a webinar because I need to get the angle right for certain things, and I have my girlfriend Lucia is here, and I can get her to demonstrate certain positions, certain movements, and I can manipulate the camera to make sure you can see what's what. Okay, we're still at 26, so I think this is probably going to be it, but that's a pretty good turnout considering the amount of sign-ups, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mute everybody so we don't get all the background noise. Mute all. And then, so what I would do is I'm going to mute everybody. Everybody's muted now. We'll do the meditation, then we'll go into the exercise. There is a function on Zoom, if you haven't used it before, if you go to, where is it? Let's have a look. There is an option to raise your hand. If you go to the participants, give me one sec. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just setting up my screen. 1 second. Oops. Okay, yes. So if you go into the chat or the participants, I can't see it because I'm the host, but there is an option to raise hand. So if you want to ask me something or at any time, you can raise your hand and I'll keep an eye on there. You can always just, if you can't get my attention, you can always just unmute yourself and just, talk, it's fine. But it's best if when you're not talking, you stay muted. Otherwise, we've got 26 people on. There's going to be a lot of background noise that's all going to get picked up at the same time. So, yeah, so we'll get started. So thank you very much for being here. As I said, we've got 26 people on the call. It would be good if everybody could switch their camera on. So I see there's a few of you that have got your camera switched off. Be good if everybody's camera's on and we can see everybody. You can also comment in the chat, as well as raising your hand or asking a question. You can also write a comment in the chat and I'll try and keep an eye on the chat as well. Also, I'll mention for those of you that aren't on our mailing list, you can join the Planet Kambo mailing list and stay updated with all of the latest events and webinars and things that we're doing. They all get announced to our list, and you can do that through the Planet Kambo website. We also do weekly podcasts. They're recorded once a week and then they're posted on YouTube. They're all up already, done quite a few, and we're doing them every week. So keep your eyes open for those as well. So as I mentioned, we're going to do rapé now before we do the meditation. For those of you that don't have rapé and you would like to try rapé, and maybe for the next webinar that we do, you could use rapé as well. We are giving away free samples of rapé and free bamboo tomahawk pipes, so you can blow the rapé for yourself. I will post a link. If you go to the Planet Kambo website, there's a pop-up anyway where it says register here for your free rapé. But at the end, I will post a link so that for those of you that don't have rapé, you can get your free sample of rapé. Also, the next webinar that we're going to be doing, which hasn't been announced yet, is going to be a cacao ceremony. So Natalie, one of our practitioners, she's going to be hosting that, and it's going to be in 2 weeks' time. And it's going to be a cacao ceremony. So if you don't know, cacao when used in its ceremonial form, so ceremonial grade cacao, is actually quite a powerful thing. If you take a large enough dose, it is, I wouldn't say it's not psychoactive. It's not in the same way as a psychedelic. It's not hallucinogenic, but it has a strong heart opening quality to it. And if you take it on an empty stomach and you take a large enough dose, then you can really, really feel it. It's really good for meditation. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. And for any of you guys that want to attend that, we're giving away, in the same way as we're giving away the free rapé, we're also giving away free cacao samples as well. So at the end of the webinar, I will post a promo code in the chat where you can go and you can get the cacao from the Planet Kambo store, use that promo code, and then you'll get it for free. And all you need to pay for is the postage. So that's just what's going on at the moment with Planet Kambo, just some announcements, and we're trying to keep things going as much as possible during this lockdown time, so we can keep everybody connected and keep the community spirit. Okay, so let's now get into the meditation. The meditation won't be too long because the tension and trauma release exercise is going to take a fair amount of time, so I don't want to spend too long doing a meditation. So if those of you that have rapé, you can get it ready. I'm just mixing up. Actually, what I have at the moment is I actually have the tobacco and the ashes separate. So, and I haven't got any pre-mixed. So just going to mix this up. Okay, so for those of you with rapé, you can take the rapé now. And then you can just come to resting in a seated position. Close your eyes. And just find your center, feel your body in the space. Just start to become aware of your body. And we're going to leave behind all the stresses and the worries of what's going on at the moment and just arrive here, present. Because right now, in this moment, as we sit here, just in this moment, there is no problem. Everything is okay. And just start to bring your attention to your breath. And just notice the breath. Don't need to breathe in any particular way. Just let the breath happen. And just start to observe the breath coming in and going out. And just start to let your attention rest on where you feel that movement in your body, where you feel that breath. And any thoughts that might arise, just notice them and let them go and come back to your breath. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just the breath. If your mind wanders, then as soon as you realize, just bring your attention back to the breath. Okay, and now slowly start to bring yourself back to the room. All right, so hopefully everybody's calm and centered now. So now we'll move on to the exercise itself. So I hope you've all got a yoga mat or something similar ready. And you want to be wearing reasonably loose fitting clothes. Doesn't matter that much, but like really tight jeans would be an issue. So if you are wearing something particularly tight and it's going to be difficult to move in, then I'd suggest you go and change. So before we do it, I'll just explain what's going to happen. So we're going to go through these stretches and tensioning exercises one by one, and I'll guide you through them. And then once we've done those exercises, well, what they do is they create they tension a certain part of the body, the pelvis and mainly the psoas muscle. And it's a similar feeling to when you've done some kind of workout. For those of you that go to the gym, if you've ever, when you do leg day, at the end of the session, your legs are kind of quivering a bit. It's similar to that. So it's a kind of a tremoring, a very slight shaking. So we do the exercises, we trigger this shaking, and then we're going to go into a position where we're laying down and we hold our legs in a certain way, and then you'll notice the tremoring happening, and then you just need to relax into it and just let it happen. The tremoring might be very, very subtle. It might be dramatic. It's different for different people. It can be different on different days for different people. Sometimes the tremoring will just be in your legs and your pelvis. Other times it can go up, higher up into the body. So don't be alarmed. And with this technique, at any time, if you want it to stop, all you need to do is just put your legs flat, lay flat, and it will stop. So you're in control all the time. And it is very gentle. It's not anything too traumatizing or dramatic. For most people, when they do this exercise, and I know this is how it is for me, it's just very relaxing. I don't necessarily get any memories or anything like that come up, but I do know some people who have done this, and during the exercise, when they're doing the shaking, sometimes memories can come up, maybe some traumatic memories, things like that come up, and then they get released. So if that does happen, then that's fine, let it happen. If emotions come up, then that's fine, just let them be. But as I said, don't expect anything too dramatic. For most, and for me, it's really just a very relaxing process. And for me, it relieves stress more than anything. When I do this process, if I am stressed, then by the end of the session, the stress is gone. And when you're in the process and you're doing the shaking, then you're just relaxing and treat it like a meditation. So just observe the shaking, but just try and relax. So it is a very meditative process anyway. After the session, you'll probably feel very calm and relaxed. If later after the session emotions come up, I think it's unlikely, but it's possible, then again, just let them be. Don't try and get rid of them or do anything to push them away. Just be with whatever's coming up and just allow it to be there. Okay, so what I'll do then is I will demonstrate each movement as best I can with this camera setup. And then I think, so as I'm demonstrating, and I'll just go through the whole process as if I'm going to do it myself. And then I'd ask that you do what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So we'll just go through the process together. If anybody is not sure about something or want to ask a question, then you can type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand in the chat and we can have a dialogue. Or if I'm not, you know, if for whatever reason you haven't got my attention, then you can unmute yourself and just talk. And if there's only 1 or 2 people talking at a time, like me and one other person, then it's fine. But best to, as I said, to have everybody muted so we don't get a lot of background noise. Okay, so let's move this chair out of the way. So the first movement, yeah, we can demonstrate on Lucia. Let me bring this down. Yeah. No, that's fine. Hang on. Okay. So for this first movement, what we're going to do is we're just going to warm up the toes. So I'll show you the standing position. So if you can see, I'll do it myself, this one. You can see I've got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, like that. And then what I'm going to do, now I'm going to show you my feet, is with my back foot, I'm going to go up on my toes like that. And I'm going to just gently stretch out my toes. I'm going to put it on, 1 second. I'm going to put it on speaker view so I can see what I'm doing. Hang on. There we go. Right. So for this one, I'm just warming up my toes like this, just stretching out the toes. Actually, it's better with it on. You can see better. Yeah, that's better. Just warming up the toes. That's better, thank you. And then flip your toes over that way and do the same thing. Just give the toes a good stretch. And then repeat on the other side. So we're going to do the same thing with the other foot. Toes up like this first. Just stretching them out. And then flip them over. Oops. All right, that was the first position. Next one, what we're going to do is we are going to shift our weight. So we're going to stand straight and then we're going to shift our weight over to one side. And when I do that, when I shift the weight over, I'm going to tilt my foot outwards like that. I don't know if you can see that. Hang on, let me bring this down a bit. So I'm pushing out onto the side and I'm tilting my foot over. And I should feel a stretch down the outside of the leg. So as you can see, my foot is out. I'm shifting my weight over to this side and I feel a stretch down the outside of my leg. And then I come back to center and now I do the other side, shifting my weight all the way over to that side, tilting my foot outwards, and I'm feeling a stretch down this side of my leg. Okay, next movement. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to send my knees around in circles like this. But as I'm doing this, what I'm doing with my feet is my feet are going onto my toes, onto the side, onto my heels, onto the side, onto my toes. So I'm doing this with my feet as I'm going around. So I'm stretching out my ankles. And then you go the other way. And this is the easy bit. It gets a bit more challenging than this as we go through. Okay, next movement. Okay, this one is a little bit more tricky, so I think I'll get Lucia to demonstrate. It's fine. You know the lunge?
Yeah.
You know the way you go into a lunge?
Yeah.
And then you put your back foot out like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So this next one, this is a stretch for the psoas muscle. So you're going to come into a lunge. Hang on, so you're going to come into a lunge position. If you can see, Lucia's in that lunge position. But the important thing with this lunge is your ankle at the back needs to be turned out. So if you're doing it with your right leg, if your right leg is back, your ankle needs to be out and your ankle needs to be wider than your knee. So if I show myself here, if I'm doing this, with this leg, if you look at my back foot, my ankle is turned out like that. Don't know if you can see that, yeah? So your ankle's turned out, and then as you turn your ankle out, you're going to push into the lunge, but you want to make sure that your hips are tilted down as you go into it, and you should feel a very deep stretch down here, down the inside of your leg. So the important things to remember is to keep the back foot twisted out, and to keep you want to keep your pelvis tilted, not like this. You want to keep your pelvis tilted forward, and then go into the lunge, and you should feel a very deep stretch on the inside of the thigh. You feeling that? Yeah. And as you relax into it, you hold that position. As you relax into it, you'll find that you can go deeper and deeper into it. As the muscle starts to relax, you'll be able to go deeper and deeper. So I will do it as well. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. And this is a stretch that I do every day anyway, as part of my routine. It's a really good stretch for the psoas muscle. Okay, and then we change sides. So repeat the same thing on the other side. That's it. So turn the ankle out, stretch forward, keep your pelvis tilted so you're upright, and then push into the stretch. All right, come out of that. Okay, let's do the next one. Second. Okay, now for this next one, what we're going to do So I'll demo it first, and I'll get you to do it. We're going to come into a wide leg position. I'm going to come all the way down. Actually, I can demo this is fine. I'm going to come down, and you should start to feel stretch down the backs of the legs. And then you can take your hands and go over to one side and feel the stretch there. If you can't get all the way to the leg, if you can only come to here or to your shins, that's fine. And just rest here for a bit. Feel that stretch. And then come back to center and do the other side. And then come back to center. And now walk your hands between your legs, and we're going to just stretch through our legs as far as you can go. And then come back to center. Robs, can you angle the camera up a bit, please? Just tilt it up so I can see my, that's it, yeah. Now, so we come back to standing in this position. You can place your hands on your hips and then rotate back to one side, tilt your head back, feel the stretch down the whole side of your body. And then come back to center, and then repeat on the other side. So I'm twisting and I'm leaning back, allowing my head to go back. And then come back to center. And now make two fists with your hands. Put those fists into the small of your back, and then you're going to lean back as far as you can go, but be careful and let your head fall back. Let your body bow. Feeling a stretch down the front of the body. And then come back. Okay, next movement. This one's a bit tricky, so let's see if we can get it on the camera. This is the frog. So to do this,
If you put the mattress away, it will be more visible.
you think so? But I won't be able to, yeah, but I won't be able to do it because it'll be, yeah. Okay, so for the frog, you're going to come down into a position. You can see me here, so my knees are bent. It's fine, mate, it's fine. My knees are bent like this. I'm going to put my feet out. So if you can see that, my feet are coming out. That's it. So my feet are splayed. So I'm in my actually it is difficult to see. So I'm going to come off this mat. I'm going to do it on the carpet. It'll be easy to see on the carpet. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So knees nice and wide like that. And then I'm going to allow my feet to come out there. And then I'm going to come down. And then I'm going to start to make circles with my hips. And what I'll do now is I'll get Lucia to demonstrate, and then I can move the camera so people can see. You know the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that position, knees wide, feet splayed, and then going round in circles, opening up the hips. Should feel a deep stretch in the hips. And then you can go the other way. And then what you can do is just push back into it, push back. That's it. Just push back and go as deep as you can. You should feel really deep stretch in the groin area. Feeling that, Lucia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just push back into a deep stretch. Okay, and then come out of that position slowly because your knees are in a vulnerable position. So come out of that position slowly. Next, we're just going to do a hamstring stretch. So we come down, you can come down like this with your feet straight. Take a hold of your feet if you can. If you can't get that far, that's fine. Try and keep your legs as straight as possible. And come down and you should feel a nice stretch in the hamstrings. Okay, now is when things get a little more challenging. Yeah, no, the calves. Okay. Okay, for this next one, make sure we can see. Okay. So now what we're going to do with this one is we want to fatigue the muscles in the calf, and we do that by come to a wall, and you're going to raise one foot off the floor, and with the other foot I'm going up on tiptoes and I'm coming down. So I'm going up on tiptoes. It's okay. Going up on tiptoes, coming down. Going up on tiptoes, coming down. And you want to keep doing that, up and down, up and down, up and down. And what we're trying to do, as I said, you're trying to fatigue that muscle in the calf. So we're going up and down on the toes. I normally find about 30 repetitions for me is what's good when it starts to really burn. You want to feel that burn in the calf. And then when it really starts to burn, when you feel that burn, then go up on tiptoes and hold it. When it really starts to burn. Like I said, for me, it's about 30 repetitions, but everybody will be different. We're just trying to fatigue that muscle in the calf. You want to get a nice burn. Yeah. Yeah, and then when you're ready, you can switch legs and repeat on the other side. So we're going up and down on the toes until you really feel that burn. And then once it starts to burn, then you can just go up and just hold that position. Okay, hold it. How's that burning? Okay. All right. The next one. Let's see how we can show this. Okay, so for this one, we're going to try and fatigue the muscles in the quads. So the way to do this one, you can either do it on the floor, or if you find this too difficult, you can hold something that's a bit higher up, such as a chair or a table. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go all the way down with my hand like this, and then I'm going to lift my back leg and I'm going to squat up and down. And I'm doing the same thing that I was doing with my calves. I'm trying to fatigue that muscle. You want to go up and down, like that, until it really starts to burn. And again, for me, it's usually about 30 repetitions. The stronger your legs are, the more you're going to need to do this to get the burn. That's it. And once it really, really starts to burn, then you can stop and change legs. But the more you can fatigue the muscle during this exercise and the subsequent ones, the more powerful the actual releasing is going to be. So I know it's a bit painful.
Muscles are too fatigued.
Yeah. Most important thing is that you fatigue that quad muscle in the thigh. And when you're ready, you can switch sides and then repeat on the other side. Right. Okay. This is the most killer one out of the lot. This is the wall squat now. Okay. Let me think how I can show this. Okay. So for the wall squat, what we're going to do is we're going to come to a position against the wall, as if you're sitting down, but you're not sitting down. So you're going to squat against the wall. Like that, and we're going to hold that position. And what you want to do is you want to drive your feet into the floor and drive your hips, drive your sacrum into the wall as you're doing that. So you don't just hold this position, but you're pushing with your feet into the floor and you're pushing your sacrum into the wall. This is quite challenging. You're really trying to fatigue the muscles in the thighs. And then when the burn gets really, really painful, then what you can do is you come up 1 inch. You just raise yourself up. You raise your bum up 1 inch and keep pushing into the wall. This should be quite challenging.
It's burning.
Yeah. So when it starts to really, really burn, then you come up another inch. Come up a little bit more. And you keep repeating this process of holding this position until it's really burning, and then you come up another inch, and then another inch, and another inch.
sweating.
Come up another inch. That's it, keep coming up. As you're coming up, eventually you're going to reach a position where your legs are almost straight. So your knees are still bent, but your legs are almost straight. And when you reach that position, you should start to feel the tremoring. But the important thing is to keep pushing your feet into the floor and keep pushing your sacrum into the wall. That's the key. Come up a bit more. Yeah. Starting to feel tremoring.
Good at this position. I can hold it for
Okay. Yeah.
for demonstration.
No. Come up a bit more. Yeah. Right. Now push your feet into the floor and push your sacrum into the wall. Come up a little bit more. And push your feet into the floor and sacrum into the wall. Come closer, yeah. That's it. And now push. You getting the tremoring? Yeah. Come up a little bit more.
Almost
Yeah.
standing.
That's it. You will eventually reach a point where you're almost standing, your legs are almost straight, but you're pushing your feet into the floor, pushing your hips into the wall, your sacrum into the wall, and you're feeling the tremoring in your thighs. You got it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So Lucia has just informed me that she's feeling the shaking.
Those.
I can see it, yeah. If you find that you've come up to almost straight and you're not getting the shaking, you haven't tensioned your muscles enough, then you need to go back down, go back to a lower position if you need to, and go back to that position and feel the burn. Get it to burn, then come up a little bit, and then come up a little bit. But the most important thing here is that you're really fatiguing the quad muscles in the thigh. So come up to almost straight. And keep pushing. Push the feet into the floor. Push the sacrum into the wall. Come up even higher. You got it. Yeah, it's tricky, but there's a knack to it. Once you come up high enough, where your knees are almost straight, you'll really start to feel the tremoring. Once the muscle's fatigued enough, and then you come up high, you'll start to feel that tremoring.
Mhm.
You got it, yeah?
Got it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see. You probably can't see because you're in the black. You can't see it, but you can feel it, and it can be subtle. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It's a subtle tremoring in the legs. Okay, so I hope you've all got that. Like I said, if you haven't, then you just need to go back down, back to a more seated position, feel the burn more, take some time there, and then slowly come back up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, next position. Now, you know the one, right? You have to lean forward.
Mommy.
Okay, I'll tell you what, you hold it on me. Okay, so next position. Get it so you can see my whole body. That's it. Now I'm going to lean forward like this. That's it. And what I want to be doing, I'm going to let my whole body hang forward. My knees are a tiny bit bent, but I'm pushing back. My knees are bent, but I'm pushing back against my knees with my legs. That doesn't make sense, but I'm pushing back that way with my legs, and I'm leaning forward, and you should start to feel the shaking. I'm starting to feel it, and I didn't even do the exercises properly. Yeah. So if you lean forward, but you keep your knees a little bit bent, and you push back with your legs, you should start to feel that tremoring. Yeah, go to position. Come on, go on, you do it. No, you're leaning forward to Boobs, what you do. That's it. Just lean, that's it. Just lean over. No. Like this, look.
Just that.
Yeah. So knees slightly bent, weight hanging forward, but pushing back slightly with the knees. You feeling the tremor? Got it? Yeah. Okay. We're nearly there. There's only one more movement after this, and then we're going to get into the position to just hold and relax. So leaning forward, weight leaning forward, pushing back, slightly back with the legs.
I didn't remember this one.
Yeah. Just bend your knees a little bit. That's it. Let all the weight here hang here, and then just push back gently with your knees. Feel it? There, you got it. Yeah. That's it. And now you should be feeling that tremoring in the legs. Okay. Next position. We're getting to the final part of the releasing. Okay, we have to show this from a few different angles, I think. So we're going to come into a position where we're seated. Just tilt it, that's it, yes, tilt it down. I'll tell you what, let me take my socks off so you can see. So like this. And then I'm going to lay down like this, and then I'm going to push my hips up. Can you see? Yeah, like that. And I'm going to hold that position. So I'm driving my knees out, and I'm lifting my bum up. Yeah, go on, you do it. So driving the knees out, driving the hips up, and from this position, you should start to feel the tremoring. Feeling it? Yeah.
Should I keep pulling up?
Yeah, just keep pushing up. Nearly there, nearly there. I'm counting in my head.
Nice in a way. This painful.
Okay, then slowly bring your hips down. Bring your hips down and allow your knees to just fall out to the side and just relax. Okay, so we're in this position. Knees out to the side, soles of the feet together. Knees relaxed, splayed to the side. Now bring your knees up 1 inch. And then bring your knees up another inch. And another inch. And another inch. And now what you want to do is you want to find the position where the tremoring is you feel it most. So bring them up a bit more, Boobs. And a bit more. There we go. I can see it. So you probably can't see it on the video, but I can see it. Looking at Lucia, I can see the tremoring. I can see her legs shaking. Bring them up a bit more. There we go. That's it. Yeah, you can see it. And this is the position now. And now you want to hold this position and try and relax. And I can see Lucia's whole pelvis. You probably can't see it on the video, but her whole pelvis is shaking. If you're finding that the shaking is not that strong or you're not really feeling it and you want to amplify it, what you can do is you can let your knees just drop out to the sides, relax, and then bring them back up and drop them out again and bring them back up and drop them out and bring them back up. And one more time. And can you see how it's amplified it? There we go. Now it's really strong. You can also experiment with placing your feet flat on the floor. So rather than having your feet, soles of the feet together, you can place your feet flat on the floor. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. And you can move your knees in and out and just find the spot. Not so much, just slightly. That's it. Just find the position. You can experiment with different positions with your feet. You could try putting your feet a little bit wider, tiny bit wider, bringing the knees in and just just slowly bring them in and just hold it. That's it. Just find whatever position works for you the best. If this position doesn't work and you find that having the soles of the feet together is better, then do that. Just find whatever position works for you where you can really feel the shaking. I often alternate between the two. I'll go to a position where the soles of my feet are together, and then I'll switch to having my feet flat on the floor. I don't think it matters. Yeah. So I'm hoping that this is working for all of you. Obviously, I can't see you. If we were in in the same room, I could see, but I can't. But if you've tensioned the muscles enough and you've stretched them enough, then this should work. And now just allow that shaking to happen and just relax and let it happen. Just observe it. Yeah. I could put some music on. That's a good idea. There is a knack to doing this, and the more times that you do it, you'll find you get the knack. And I think the most important movement is the wall squat. If you can master that wall squat, and getting the tremoring during the wall squat, that normally for me means it's going to work really well.
Is there a minimum time you have to spend in this position? The longer the better.
Yeah. 20 minutes, half an hour. I've got it on speaker view. Put your feet flat on the floor. It's easier. Very subtle. Find the most subtle
Understand?
All right. Now we can come out of that position. Take your time, let your legs, just put your legs out flat. Take a minute to rest. Okay, so I hope everybody's back. And I hope it worked for everybody. If it didn't, and you didn't get much tremoring, then this is something that you can practice. And we're going to be doing more of these webinars. And the more you do it, there is a knack to it. There is a knack, and once you get it, then it's very easy to get the tremoring to happen. So now we can do a little Q&A. So if anybody has any questions about this or about anything, feel free to ask. You can raise your hand. You can raise your hand in the chat. Who's that? Hannah. Hannah said so much shaking. Good. Nuno, right? Let me unmute you. Nuno, talk to me. No, didn't work. Hang on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Loads of shaking. What does it mean? Really strong. Really strong.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything in particular. I mean, for some people are saying with me, sometimes I get loads of shaking, and other times it's much more subtle. So I don't think the actual how dramatic the shaking is matters. If anything, I find sometimes the most they're called micro tremors. So yeah. when you're in that position, and we've got our feet, soles of the feet together, and your knees are going up and down, it's really dramatic. And then I find when I put the soles of my feet on the floor, yeah, and I hold my knees up like that, I get deeper tremoring, and it's smaller, but it's coming from deeper in my pelvis. So like I said, when you're doing the process, you can experiment with different positions, whether your feet together. I often end up with as I said, the soles of my feet on the floor. Yeah. And then I just try and find, with my knees, I find different positions where I'm getting really deep tremoring coming from deep in my pelvis, and it's micro. It's really subtle and it's really small. And what happens is it will stop and I'll get nothing, and then I'll just get a tiny tremor and it will stop, and then I'll get another tiny tremor and it will stop. So it's not always this continuous shaking. Sometimes you're still, and then you just get tiny micro tremor, just goes through you, and then it stops, and then you get another one like that.
For me, it was non-stopping trembling.
Okay.
And I felt sometimes I felt like having some, I'll call it spasms, but like coming from the chest
Yeah.
while I was lying down. So my body just kind of, nearly stood up on its own,
Yeah.
like a shock,
Yeah.
And now the last bit, when you said you can relax, I kind of got high at that moment. It was really weird because I rested in between and I didn't feel anything like that. And the last one, from the moment you said, now you can relax, just stay there for a minute. Now that minute, I felt really high and dizzy. And I think if I would extend that, I don't know, I don't know what might have happened. I don't know. Good. I mean, good. Just like your sessions, when we do your sessions, really weirdly good. I would say.
Good. Great, man. That's it. I
Respect
mean,
that.
that's it. That's what
That's
it's
how it
about.
worked for me. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've never had that feeling of getting high, but I've had other people, when we've done the live sessions, certain people have said that they feel high afterwards.
Okay.
Or they like when they get the same as you, they get the chest sort of wave.
Okay. It might be similar to an orgasm, like when you have, I don't know, but it's a
Kundalini.
shock.
Kundalini.
Sorry?
Kundalini.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, John.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Here we
Thank you.
have Benjamin.
Hey, John. Thank
Hey.
you for the wonderful practice. I wanted to know, when do you do it? And how often is that? Like, when is it your go-to practice or meditation?
I mean, you can do it every day. I go.
How about you personally?
I just do it when I feel like I need, if I'm a bit stressed and I feel like I need it. But I have gone through periods where I do it every day. I like to do it before bed. It's a good time to do it because it's a good de-stress before the end of the day. It really depends how I feel, because it is a bit of a chore, like going through all the exercises. When you think, oh, can I be bothered to go through that? So when I really need it, then I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, it's powerful. It definitely works, and I always feel better for having done it. And I've been through periods where I was doing it every day. Now I do it probably, I don't know, maybe a couple of times a week. And then when we before this whole COVID thing happened, we were doing the live classes, and then when we do a live class, I do it with everybody, and then I go through the process myself as well. But I would say if it's good to do it every day. If you've just started doing it, then do it every day. Do it for 20 minutes. If you can get into that position, the relaxed position where the shaking's happening, and stay there for 20 minutes to half an hour, and do that every day, see what happens.
Yeah, feels wonderful. Thank you.
Great, no problem. Jess. Yep, Jess.
Hiya, thank you so
Hey.
much. That was really great. Yeah, I was just curious what culture it's rooted in.
What culture? It's not an indigenous thing. It's a newer technique. It's a Western thing. So it was created and originally created by I think it was a neuroscientist. It's been adapted by various different peoples. There's a few different ways of doing it, but it's not an indigenous thing. So it hasn't come. There's not some tribal thing that they've been doing for centuries like Kambo. It's a new thing. And this series that we did here, this is my own version of it. So I took the one that I knew and I changed it a bit, and I added some stuff because I found that when I did the release exercise as it was laid out, I find often it didn't tension the muscles enough, and I would go through it and I'd lay down and I wouldn't get any shaking. So all I did was I just added some extra stretches in there, ones that I know are very good. And I found that with that, it works on everybody so far. I haven't had anybody that's come to one of the sessions where it hasn't worked. And I've had, I think on the first one we did, one of the ladies that came, she said she'd done this before and this was the best. Like she'd never had the tremoring as much as this. So it's really, yeah, it's taking something that already existed and I've sort of modified it. And you can also modify it yourself, like David, the co-owner of Planet Kambo, he's got his own version of it as well. He's does martial arts and jiu-jitsu, and he applies some of the jiu-jitsu stretches to it. So it doesn't really matter, actually. The stretches themselves are irrelevant. If I did a leg day at the gym, I could literally come home from the gym, not do any of the exercises and just go straight into that position. It would work. Because if your legs are fatigued, that's all that matters, really. So you can modify it yourself. You can add your own stretches in, find what works for you. Really, it's just about tensioning the muscles in the right way. And really, it's the most important one is the psoas, which runs from the inside of your, it's the inside of your thigh. I think it runs from the knee up to the hips. And one of the stretches that we did at the beginning, which was the lunge, where you're in a lunge position and you're with your back foot, you make sure it's out wider than your knee, and then you lunge forward. That's a psoas stretch, and that was one that I added, and I found that really adds to it. But yeah, it's not an ancient technique. It's a new thing.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. So I'll just also, and feel free to put your hand up if anyone else got a question, but where this actually comes from is in nature, animals do this automatically. So if you have there's actually videos on YouTube. If you put into YouTube, I think what it is, like trauma release animal, something like that, you'll see a video of I think it's a gazelle or some kind of animal like that, after it's been chased by a lion in Africa or wherever it is. When it gets away, if it lives, it will lay down on the floor and it will shake for about 20 minutes. And then it will get up and run off like nothing's happened. So the animals naturally do this. They shake off their trauma. So when it goes through this sort of death chase where it's being chased by a lion, it's facing death, and then it gets away, it will automatically go into a shake. It will automatically shake off its trauma and then get up and run away like nothing's happened. So we kind of have this inbuilt ability in us. And what this technique does is it just mimics that. It's just a way to tap into that. There's another video actually as well on YouTube. If you search for that, you might find it. It's a polar bear where it's being chased by scientists in a helicopter. I forget what it is they're actually doing, but they need to sedate the polar bear, and then they tag it or they do something to it, and it's for its own protection. They're not harming the polar bear. But while they're doing it, when they sedate the polar bear, I think it's when they sedate it, it goes into this shaking. So it is a very, very natural thing. And it's similar to, I think, when human beings go into shock, they shake. So we have this natural ability to shake off trauma. And it can happen in other situations with various plant medicines. Shaking happens. Kambo, a lot of people shake on it. And other kinds of medicines, shaking is a very natural way to release stress and to release trauma. So yeah. So does anybody else have any other questions? Let's have a look. Is anything in the chat? Do we have a step-by-step PDF? No, I don't currently have one, but that's something that I think we could probably do. So stay tuned for that. I'll make a note of that. That's something we could do. John, almost as good as the live sessions. I missed your didgeridoo playing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's something I do. I play the didgeridoo as well. So maybe next time. don't know if it would work on the webinar, but when we do the live sessions, I take the didgeridoo and I play the didgeridoo during the meditation. So thanks, John. Benjamin, I can imagine 1 minute plus. Wall sit could be a low budget exercise to fatigue your thighs. It totally can. So since we've gone into lockdown, I'm doing my home workouts, and I use, if you can see there, I've got Olympic rings. So I use those, and I also do a leg workout, a series of different leg workouts without weights. And one of the exercises is a wall squat. So it is a really, really good exercise actually for strengthening your legs. So at the moment, I don't have a gym and I'm doing everything at home. And I actually think that I'm going to cancel my gym membership when this is over, because I've realized I don't need it. I can do it all myself anyway. And actually feels a lot better doing body weight stuff than lifting weights. Pedro, the shaking made me a bit sleepy. Yeah, can happen. That's totally normal. It is quite relaxing. So if you do it and you do it before bed and then you drift off into sleep, then that's totally fine. Any more questions or anything anybody would like to share or talk about? No?
Question by email.
No? Okay. Right. So I did say at the beginning that we're going to be doing our big thanks and a virtual hug. Thanks, Benjamin. Same to you. The next webinar is going to be a cacao ceremony. So let me post this in the chat. There's a promo code here for you guys. I don't know if you can see that, chocks away. If you go to the Planet Kambo store and you go to the cacao page, use that promo code and then we'll send you a free sample of cacao. So you buy it and it's $9.99, but then it will get deducted with that code and all you pay is postage. So if you'd like to take part in that cacao ceremony, which is going to be in 2 weeks' time, then please feel free to use that code, get your cacao for free. Even to Australia, yes, I think I could send it to Australia. How long it will take to get there, I don't know. And the other thing is Australia, I'll try, but Australia are very, very strict with imports. So I don't know whether it's going to be allowed. We had a guy buy some rapé from us, and when I looked into it, I realised you can't send it to Australia. They are very strict with tobacco or and any kind of dry plant material. So I think cacao should be okay. So I'll have a look, and if it's a problem, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'll send it to you. Is it different from organic cacao nibs, the ceremony grade one? Yes, it is. It's completely different. So it's not the same as the cacao powder that you get at your health shop. It's not the same as cacao nibs. Ceremonial grade cacao is different, and it is much stronger. So when you take it on an empty stomach, it's strong. You will feel it. So I mean, you can kind of get that with nibs. If I find that with dark chocolate, if I eat too much of it, it has a stimulant effect. But with the ceremonial grade, it's much more pronounced. It is different, and it tastes different as well. It's got a much richer flavour. It's completely unprocessed. So I think with the nibs and with other forms of cacao, they roast it. With the ceremonial grade, it's just fermented. It's not roasted. So it's it's much more in its raw form. So I think we can wrap up. You've got your promo code there for the cacao. If any of you guys are not on our email list, then go onto the website and you can put your email in and you'll get added to our email list, and we'll update you with all the stuff that we're doing. Stay tuned for all the podcasts. As I said, we record one of them every week. There's a whole load of them up on YouTube already, and the whole Planet Kambo team are on those podcasts. Also, we do the free sample of rapé. So if when you go on the Planet Kambo website, you'll be greeted with a pop-up that says for your free rapé and tomahawk pipe, click here. So same deal as the cacao. you can get free rapé and free cacao, and all you do is you just pay your you just pay for the postage. Not working, used too many times. I'll fix that. Apologies. I know what that is. Yeah, that's something wrong. We've just set it up, and it's just a setting I've got to go in and change. So as soon as I get off this call, I'll go straight in and I will fix that. So give it 5 minutes and then that will work. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you all very much. It was an absolute pleasure, and we will be doing another one of these very, very soon. Probably the one after the cacao will be another one of these. So it'll be great to have you all on that as well. Also, if you could invite a friend to join any of our webinars, that would be great, or friends. If you've got, you know, groups of people, they're all going to be totally free. So the more the merrier. So, you know, if you have people who you think that would enjoy it, then please invite them. And if you've got any questions about anything that comes up, then just drop me an email, info@planetkambo.com or john@planetkambo.com. I'll pick both of those up. So I'm always happy to answer questions. So thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
And I'll
Thank
see
you, everyone.
you on the next
Thank you.
webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, John. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.